We are New York, talking about what matters to you. Now, it's former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani on New York's Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Well, thank you for joining me on 77 WABC. Let's try Andy in Queens.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Pleasure again to always speak to you.
Pleasure to talk to you. How are you, Andy?
All right. So I'm going to make this brief. So I had a question for you, and this also implies to Curtis as well. Back in 1993, when you were running against Aikens, how were you able to flip the borough of Queens? Because this could help Curtis, let's say, going down the line when we hit November.
Well, first of all, I mean, I was an endless campaigner like Curtis, like Trump, 24 hours a day. Dinkins was lazy, didn't campaign anywhere near what I did. So I had that advantage, the kind of advantage like Trump had over Hillary, the advantage he had over Biden, but it didn't work. Number two, you got to realize, I mean, you got to look at the election returns, and you got to realize that in good years, there are a lot of Democratic areas of Queens that'll vote Republican. Let me give one example: Astoria, which is still a heavily Greek and somewhat Italian population, and you've got a major switch going on among Hispanics. The difference in my winning and losing, you could look at it either way: the Jewish vote or the Hispanic vote. Because in each one of my elections, the one I lost, the one I won closely, and the one I won as a landslide, it's the switch in the Jewish and Hispanic vote that made the difference. So in my last election, I got the highest percentage of Jewish vote to anybody. I got a higher percentage than Koch, I think. And, it went up from like 62% to 72% to 75%. Hispanic vote went from something like 32 to 39 to almost 50. So I would work on that. I'd work on those areas of Queens. I would not assume that the new Asian population of Queens is left-wing. I'd assume that, they're getting brainwashed to be Democrat because they're in New York, but they could easily be talked out of it. And I think that Trump gave us great inroads into the African-American vote with the performance that he showed for African-American. Now, you do have an African-American candidate that you're running against, so you're not going to expect to win a lot there. But it's important for the whole city to see that you're campaigning for that vote. That just because your opponent is African-American, you're going to make the pitch to African-American voters so that once you win, they're included. It also helps you show a sense of fairness to everyone else. You never should do what the Democrats do. It's the way we're eventually going to prevail in the cities. That is to take the black vote for granted and then double-cross them. Number one, work hard for it. And number two, work hard for them when you get elected. No matter what. That's got to be, once you get elected, doesn't matter who voted for you, everybody gets treated the same.